All right, welcome to another installment of the Fragments of Silicon reviews. 3 reviews, 1 impressions video this week. Um, and we start things off with Marko Beyond Brave. Marko Beyond Brave is an action-packed Metroidvania adventure. Wander through the lush forests and crumbling castles, battle corrupted creatures, and escape intricate traps, jump, slash, and shoot your way through challenging foes and mighty bosses inspired by Slavic myths and legends. Um, right, so I don't know anything about Slavic myths and legends, so I couldn't tell you exactly how that correlates to foes, or even if Marko here is based off of any sort of, Slavic figure. Um, we all have deficiencies in our education. This is one of mine. But with that in mind, so it's funny that this game comes along when, what was it? Was it Friday's show or was it Wednesday's show? It was one of the shows that we recorded this past week where we talked about trends in the indie game field.
It was
And
Friday.
there we go. Um, and here we have a game that's very much lining up against um, trends on the indie circuit, because I've played this game several times, in fact. Not this game specifically, but the indie Metroidvania is quite common on our shores.
But
That's
you've heard
not
this
this,
one before.
yeah. Like, um, so what does this game bring to the table? Outside of being developed, like, apparently in Bulgaria. Not 100% sure on that, but um, it's the devs seem to be Bulgarian. Um, like, it's kind of hard to locate. Like, I'm not seeing where they're located on their website exactly. Um, but I did see it, like, on the Steam page. Apparently, the myths and legends are specifically Bulgarian. Once again, I don't know how that transliterates in terms of the myths and legends, because I don't know a lot about these things. But putting that aside, so the question that might be asked is, what might this bring to the table here? And the unfortunate answer here is Eurojank. I know Civi has a less flattering name for it, but I never like specifically calling out one ethnic group over the jank, especially since other countries, their games can be very janky. Like, I played quite a few German games that have been, described as Eurojank. The Gothic series comes to mind right away, and they're not Slavic; they're Germanic. Like, so from the top, this game is a very unusual combination. Um, like, if you're seeing the screenshots, if you're seeing the footage, what engine do you think this game would be using?
uh, Unity, maybe?
You'd think that. You'd think Unity, Game Maker. What you would not be thinking is goddamn Unreal Engine.
Fucking hell. That's
Yeah,
probably
it's
where
like,
80% of their jank is from.
yeah, I had the Unreal Engine experience. Lot of stuttering, lot of jittering, lot of Unreal Engine-ness. I'm like, I'll be honest, I kind of want to speak to the devs just for that decision alone.
I can
Because,
imagine.
just Unreal Engine and a game like this, I don't get it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and I'm not exactly sure what that's bringing to the table here, because,
Because the only
Unreal
reason why
Engine.
Unity has a decent 2D stuff is because people brute forced it in, and they just kind of decide to adopt it.
I'm aware.
Fun
Like,
fact, you can make anything 2D by taking 3D stuff and flattening it out way too much.
yeah, but that's not one of those. Like, this
Yeah,
is
there's
actually.
also, like, with 3D engines, there's collision stuff that you need to deal with, and it's not as easy as flattening stuff out, trust me.
No, I know.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. Like, the actual assets, they're not 3D assets. They're actual 2D assets. They're hand drawn.
Mm-hmm.
Once again, they're doing this with Unreal Engine. It's like, and I'm just like, why? Why did you do this? What was the appeal here?
Yeah,
Because
we
I'm like,
have perfectly good 2D engines that could literally do all of this without the god-awful performance issues.
yeah. I'm like, believe me, like, we played a lot of these, and like I said, I was initially wondering why this game was so fucking jittery and not liking my computer, because look at it. I assumed like it was it could have been a Unity issue, which fair. Unity sometimes doesn't play well with my machine. That tends to be an optimization issue. Like, because I played Unity games that have worked perfectly fine as well. Unreal, yeah. And here's the thing, like Bloodstained, Ritual of the Night. That's a game that uses Unreal Engine, but you can see why, because it's an entirely 3D game. It's on a 2D plane, but it's all 3D assets.
Yeah, those are like what, hand-drawn
Whether
3D
you
models?
think that's for the better or not
Yeah.
is a separate issue.
Yeah, true enough, but the point is, you got why they did it. Here, I'm just like, was it because it's you had a discount? Like, did you have friends that worked at Epic?
Mm-hmm.
I genuinely want to know. Like, I don't know, maybe I'll get an answer when I send this review their way.
Yeah.
It's
Press
like,
badges are fun sometimes.
yeah. I'm like, well, it's like, it depends on if they actually watch the review and respond.
Fair.
Like, that's a lot less common. Like, they may watch the review, but actually commenting, I don't get those a lot.
Yeah, and many times if you do, it's because I screwed something up.
Right. Or they're actually thankful about the review, or they want to complain about the review itself. You know, they disagree with something that was said or done. But like I said, this game is just a conflagration of weird, inexplicable design choices that really give it that Eurojank flavor. Beyond Unreal Engine. Like, the most preeminent example I can think of, Knockback. Dear God, Knockback is literally backwards in this game. Because, try to guess how that happens.
I don't...
I mean, normally I would assume that would be knock forward, but more realistically, I would guess you have knockback when you're on the ground, but not in the air.
That's not what I'm I'm trying to remember if that's the case, but I definitely remember it on the ground.
Because I know in the Castlevania games, generally, you get significant knockback if you're in the air, and not much if you're on the ground.
Well, here's the thing. That doesn't matter much, because enemies don't have knockback. You get knocked back by swinging your fucking weapon.
Oh, that's
awful.
Yeah, it's fucking awful when I'm trying to kill something and I literally get knocked back into fucking lava. Because I swung my sword.
And it's one of those, I'm guessing the enemies also have like some sort of collision damage.
Yeah, there's collision issues.
So it's like you just can't just get close. You still have to space, but you have to overspace. Ugh, God, that's awful.
Yeah. I'm like, I suppose it is worth mentioning that this game didn't decide to Dark Souls it up. Like, and by that I mean, it's not trying to do the heavy methodical combat of a Dark Souls game. It's playing much more like a conventional 2D action game for whatever that is worth, and quite frankly, not much. Like, like I said, this game is filled with, you know, little things that you won't see, like, or are necessarily communicated in the footage, like in like trailer footage or anything. Like the way distance weapons work, or at least the distance weapon I got, the big fucking spear. Because it's got a fucking I don't know if it was they were trying to take a realistic view of how to throw a spear or something, but it takes a fucking ice age to toss the thing, to the point where I found it to be impractical to use as a weapon.
And was it at least like heavy damage, like kind of trade off, or was it like?
I couldn't tell,
Oh, fun.
because it also drains your courage. Now, what your courage is that it's the second bar on the screen below your life bar. That's kind of the thing. That's kind of your stamina meter. I think they call your health valor in the game. Like, the point is, that's the stuff that you use to regenerate your health. So you want to keep your courage around for that. That was another reason why I found it impractical to use the spear. Now, another good example is the map. Like, this is just a design fuck up right here, because there's no proper useful map except, okay, like you get an inventory map, but it's like a overall map of the world, land, whatever, and it shows you the area you're in. But what it doesn't give you is a layout of the area like you'd expect. That's only consigned to a fucking mini map. No, I don't know why they did that. Just inexplicable design choice after inexplicable design choice. It's why after 2 hours, I was just fucking done with this thing. Like, I wanted to like it, but, all the performance issues and little design quirks just added up to a very unfun experience. And here's the thing. This game is in a genre where you're almost literally dime a dozen.
Yeah, we're getting like 3 of these a week, and I wish I was joking.
Yeah, it's like I said, I'd have to look over the full scope, but like just off the top of my head, the Hunter X game I reviewed at the beginning of the year is so much better than this. Like, just to cite one example, and it's got all the similar design principles.
And we've also already name dropped Bloodstained.
Yeah, like I said, this is a genre that's not lacking from content.
Yeah. Castlevania game, the DS Castlevania games literally dropped less than a month ago. Like, I'm pretty sure we could start prattling off names, and yeah, we'd still be like here till sunrise.
Probably. I mean, like, even even the very weird game Parasites. That was a game that was filled with weird design choices that didn't make a lot of sense on the surface, but that's a game that actually got Dark Souls more than any 2D game I've ever played so far. I haven't played all the Dark Souls Descended. Like, I have yet to play, say, Salt and Sanctuary. Maybe that captures it better, but I'm just saying my personal experience. Anyway, my point is, this game is not good. And what's worse, this game is just another Metroidvania title in a sea of them. Like, if it had good execution, that could lead to a solid recommendation. Especially since, if nothing else, this game does have the 2D art, and I'm willing to bet that the devs spent many years on it. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if the devs told us that it was like 5 to 7 years or whatever. I'd believe them, because this is 100% hand drawn stuff, and that just takes so very long to develop. But yeah, this game just plays not good. And it pains me to say that. Because, from screenshots and video footage, it looks like it's going to be a good time. But, it's one of those ineffable things that's hard to communicate unless we talk about it at length, or you actually experience it. And that's game feel. Game feel here is pretty damn awful. Right. So with that in mind, pricing. Another unusual price here, as it's $19.50. That could be a conversion thing.
Yeah, I was about to say, that feels like that's a conversion from euros to dollars almost.
Yeah. It is on discount for $16.57. Here's the thing. Really, at any price, I can't really recommend this. Unless you have a very powerful computer to get over the Unreal hitching.
Well, it's like, I looked at the specs. It's recommending a GeForce 1060, which that's not that powerful, but if you're using a laptop like Adam usually does, it's going to be a problem unless you have a dedicated GPU.
Right.
Because Unreal Engine hates dedicated GPUs.
Right. I mean, it's this isn't top of the line Unreal 5 stuff. It's still Unreal Engine 4.
I should say integrated GPUs. Unreal Engine hates integrated GPUs.
I was about to say dedicated.
Yeah, like, no, dedicated is what I have. Yeah, they don't like integrated.
Yeah, that's usually what you get on laptops.
Yeah, words are hard.
Anyway, so this is probably in the running for most infuriating game of the year. Because, like I said, I can see the potential, as derivative as everything is here. Like, I don't think this game was ever lining up to be the next Hollow Knight. But,
this is one of those ones I could see if it dropped before Bloodborne. Or not Bloodborne. Bloodstained. It probably could have got a little more hype.
Well, here's the thing. Like, this game isn't really reaching for a specific invocation of Metroid or Castlevania.
Mm-hmm.
It's just doing the overall Metroidvania style. I played enough of these to pick up when they're trying to homage something. It's like a lot of the retro stuff we cover. I know enough to know when they're going for NES, Commodore 64, etc., and when they're just going for a general low resolution pixel art thing. So, here I could, like, if I'd have to pin it towards towards Metroid or Vania, Castlevania all the way, just because of all the horror elements or the Slavic myths and legends. That's very close to Castlevania right there. I'm like, not quite, because as Galix was telling us, before we get started, Romania, not necessarily Slavic. I'm like, I'm not exact.
They have a lot of cultural influence. It's just notable that the Romanian language is a Romance language ultimately derived from Latin.
Plus, I'm not exactly sure where Wallachia lies on that whole paradigm, because
Wallachia is in Romania.
but
It's a region of
Hungary also
Romania.
claims Wallachia and has a
Okay.
lot of history there.
Fair enough. And Hungary is Hungary isn't Slavic either. Hungary is Hungarian.
Like, anyway,
It's weird.
before we go down this particular rabbit hole anymore, I think we should conclude things. Indeed, that'll about do it for Marko Beyond Brave. Be sure to tune in after the break, as Petty Fan will be reviewing Scamper.